Welcome everyone to our cooking class this evening. Tonight we're wanting to show you how you can feed larger families, doing some recipes that use bigger portions in a Thermomix, all while being budget friendly as well. So we're going to make a few different dishes. Some are pre-recorded so that we can cut out the cook time for you, just so we can maximize our time together in the class. If you have questions while we're going, I would love it if you could just put them in the chat. Because there's a few consultants on here tonight and we'll do our best to answer your questions in the chat. At the very end, once I stop the recording, it'll be, if you have other questions you want to ask me about or any of the rest of us, we'll stay on and we can have a chat then. I'm also going to be sending out an email tomorrow to everyone who's registered with the links to the recipes and any other info we talk about that we decide we'll email you tomorrow. So you don't need to madly write too many notes unless you're writing your own kind of notes for this evening. Otherwise, just sit back and relax and hopefully you enjoy watching us do our cooking. So we have a bit of a mix on this evening. So a lot of you already have a Thermomix and some of you don't. So towards the end, I will go through some different promos and payment options for those who are looking at getting a Thermomix in your kitchen. Basically, the main reasons why people do invest in a Thermomix are to save time, to make healthy meals, to be more environmentally friendly, and to save money, and to just create a good variety of really yummy tasting foods and, you know, bring some fun back into the kitchen. So several different reasons, and some people are focused on one of those reasons. Others purchase a Thermomix because they want all those things mixed together. We're all a bit different, but tonight we're hopefully going to see how you can do all those things. You know, all these recipes help us save time, money. We're hoping to show you how we can feed bigger families. I have 4 children, and so, you know, we want to cook for more people than usual, and we also like to have leftovers, so I like to bulk up all my recipes. But to start off with tonight, we're going to go over to Jenny, who's going to show us something cool that you can do in your Thermomix.
Hi guys, thank you for joining tonight. Tonight I'm going to do Gozleme. We also love this. It serves like 16 pieces, so that we're a family of 4. We always have leftovers. I've got a teenage boy that could eat 5 or 6 big pieces on his own. So this is also a meal that we love to call our fake away. So going out and buying Gozleme, that kind of thing, it gets expensive, especially when you're feeding everybody. So this is one recipe that we absolutely love. Tonight I will cook it in the frying pan. I'm just going to do 1 serve tonight, obviously, but normally we cook it out on the barbecue. It's super easy, you can prep ahead. You can make this on your weekend and have it like on a weekend for a party type situation, or you can even prep ahead and then have it on a weeknight when you're busy, because your dough will do, and it freezes really well as well. So you can make it all up and then defrost your Gozleme and then whack them onto the barbie or onto a hot plate, a frying pan, that kind of thing. So we'll get cooking. So we're going in guided cooking here. This is one of the functions of the TM6. So I've pre-loaded my Thermomix with Cook Today, and I've selected this recipe. We've got Start Cooking here. Now I have gone through, and to make tonight easy, I've gone through and pre-weighed everything so we can skip watching me pour in 200 mils of milk. So you just need to trust me. But what you will notice on the machine here is that the Thermomix has inbuilt scales. So if you were pouring from your jug, you would just tip in until you saw 600 grams of milk, and then you would move on to the next step. So I will turn around and start with our milk. So we've got milk going in, which is 200 mils of milk going in there, and we tap next, and then it's asking us for 1 egg. So in goes an egg. Now I've pre-done all of this, and the next ingredient is olive oil. So I've pre-weighed in my little cups, and this is a really good idea too if you're getting the kids to cook. I've got young teenagers, but they've had a Thermomix in their house since they've been 4 and 6 years old. They can come, I can prep it up if I like and pop it into the fridge, and then they can get home from school and start making things to help mum and dad out. Now going in here now is 150 grams of Greek yogurt. Now let's scrape that all out of the correct amount. So that's going in there. Then we press next. So it's like, essentially it's cooking for dummies. As each time you press page over, your Thermomix is telling you what to add. So then the next ingredient is dried yeast. Now I just buy those little sachets of yeast. I find that easy. And for tonight, just to be quick, I've already opened them and popped them into my little container here. So in goes the yeast. Now it's telling us to pop our lid on. So this is the measuring cup and the lid, and we just pop that on like so, and we tap next. And the Thermomix already knows the steps and the temperature and the speed. So it says here, turn speed selected to speed 6. So I'm going to just turn the dial. The little doors close. And for 3 seconds, that just blended all that together. We tap next. Now, what I'm just going to show you, if you can see, that's just blitzed all of that ingredients. Can you see that? I don't want to tip it out, but you can see into there. So with the measuring cup still in, we just tap next again. And now this is going to heat up and activate the yeast into our yogurt and our oil and our egg mixture. So I'll flick back to Laura while we're just cooking this little piece now, and it's going to cook up to 50 degrees.
Cool. So I can take this few minutes just to share with you one of the promos we have on at the moment for anyone who wants to invest in a Thermomix up until Thursday at 11 o'clock. So you've got about a day and a half to decide. We have 3 free gifts at the moment. So we have our Simply Delicious cookbook. Now this book is all about saving money with every meal under $5 a serve. And aside from all the beautiful recipes that are in here, and these are some really great classic family dishes, aside from being great recipes, there's heaps of info as well, like different savings guides and just tips along the way, like how to shop and store things to save money. There's just like heaps of guides. It's a beautiful book to sit on the couch and flick through. So it's a really great free gift at the moment. And the other 2 free gifts we have coming are our rose gold bakeware pizza tray and 12-hole muffin tray. And these are, I can't show you on the screen how heavy duty these are. They are great rose gold cast bakeware. They are non-stick, but it's great that it all comes together as a package, because if you're making your own pizza, you're saving money, and you're making your own muffins, you're making your own snacks. So it's you can see that we're all talking about saving money at the moment in your Thermomix. So that's why those 3 things go really well together. And I think that's a really great promo. So if you're interested in a Thermomix, I really think it's a great time for that. But I can also share with you that from 11 o'clock on Thursday, so I'm getting my times right, is when it switches over to a new promo. So one thing to be aware of is that the Thermomix works with a recipe platform we have called Cookie-Doo, and that's where we sync all these recipes from, and where you see the guided cooking that Jen was just showing you. When you first purchase your Thermomix, normally you get 6 months free subscription to Cookie-Doo. So you really want to use that time to use Cookie-Doo as much as possible. And I'm going to show you later tonight some other features of Cookie-Doo that are really beneficial other than the guided cooking. But you really want to use it a lot in your first 6 months, so you can decide whether you want to keep subscribing after that 6 months ends. And most of our customers do, because it's quite good value. And it is $69 a year to keep subscribing for that recipe platform. So that was a tangent, because otherwise the promo wouldn't make sense. We have a new promo starting on Thursday to receive an additional 12 months subscription to Cookie-Doo. So anyone purchasing from then on, you're not getting a physical free gift, something that comes with your Thermomix, but you're getting that subscription service. So you'd have 18 months worth of Cookie-Doo subscription for anyone who invests in a Thermomix starting Thursday at 11 o'clock through to the end of July. So just wanted to let you know those two promos that are happening at the moment, because I know for some people it might make a difference about when you purchase, whether you want to rush your order in to get the free goodies or whether you want to hold off and get the longer subscription. So, all right, I think Jen's ready for me. I may have talked a little too long.
No, absolutely not. The Thermomix literally just said it had been done. So our yogurt, egg, and yeast mixture has just finished cooking. Now it's asking us to add in 600 grams of plain flour. So I've just already pre-weighed that. Again, the Thermomix has the scales, so you can prep up all your food. Now we're just going to tap next here. Now, each step is included. However, because I've pre-prepped, in my little container here, I've got half a teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of sugar, a half a teaspoon of salt, and then we're just going to pop that into our Thermi. We tap next, and it's asking us to pop our lid back on. And now the Thermomix is in dough mode. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, there's a little image of a stick of wheat. That's dough mode in the Thermomix, and that's our kneading function. So now when I activate for the next 2 minutes, so I'm going to throw back to Laura, our dough is going to knead away. So in that 2 minutes, that's like equivalent of me standing here rolling this, the Gozleme dough for a good, 10 to 15 minutes. So 2 minutes and I'll be back to you.
Thanks, Jen. So in that time, I wanted to share another awesome promo thing that we have happening at the moment, which is our host reward. So some of you are actually on this evening with some guests so that you can get a host reward, and that's awesome. This is how easy it is to host, getting some friends to join you on a virtual demonstration of the Thermomix. The other way you can host is by having people in your home for an in-person cooking experience where you get to be more hands-on and actually eat the food. So that's an option as well. And I wanted to share the host rewards. So hopefully you can see this on the screen now. So these 4 at the bottom here, these are our normal host rewards. They're available every month until further notice. And I guess we'll find out if that ever changes. But you can see we have 3 different shapes and sizes of thermo servers, which are our insulated serving dishes. And we've got our matte duo pack. Now, at the moment this month, and I know it's ending soon, but you can still try and figure out something last minute with your consultant if you wish to. It could even be a watch party of one of our pre-recorded demonstrations. So talk to your consultant about how it can work. But we have 2 great other options, which are our Cobalt vacuum system. So it's a cordless vacuum that is just amazing. I won't go into too much detail here, but look it up if you want the info, ask the consultant. It's to get a discount on that system or to get a discount on our 2-in-1 vacuum mop system, which is next level amazing. The other option is our glider board, which you can sit your Thermomix on for those who want to move it across the bench very easily. Just lift it up the front with it 1 finger and kind of glide it across your bench. And if you don't lift it up, it stays very sturdy on your bench. It actually can't move. So it's super safe, very secure, Vorwerk approved glider board for your Thermomix. So yes, for hosting, you can get a discount on all these items. And if a guest purchases from your demonstration, from your cooking experience, most of those items end up becoming free. The Cobalt system becomes a better discount, but everything else is free. So really great offers just for sharing the Thermomix. And for us consultants, it's also, we're all really grateful whenever one of our customers wants to share the Thermomix with friends, because that's how we further our businesses. Basically, we don't, we're not in a shop and we don't advertise on TV. It's all word of mouth. So it's just really great when we can come cook with customers and help you learn new tips about how to use your Thermomix, but also share that with your friends to see if it's something they're interested in. Obviously, it's no obligation. No one needs to come to a demo and have to purchase. We're not pushy salespeople. It's just about showing how much we love it, which we all do. So you may want to consider that. And I'm going to push you back to Jen.
All right, now I just want to show you, this is the, thanks Laura, this is the dough that we have made in that 2 minutes whilst it's kneaded in the bowl there. Now, I'm not sure, you don't need to see me for this, but if you can see the front of my Thermomix here, there's actually a little video. So once you've synced your Thermomix to your Wi-Fi, if you're not sure of a step and you're a first time person making dough, you can actually tap this little video and there's a little 8-second video of how to actually get the dough out of your bowl, because obviously this looks like, oh, okay, how do I get that out? But it's quite simple. Now I'm going to just turn my daughter's iPad. She was kind enough to set me up tonight. So this is a Thermomat, okay? So you can buy this from Thermomix. We have the mix shop, and this basically replaces flour all over the bench, baking paper. You can bake on this. We are going to wrap our dough in this in a moment so it will prove, but this is an absolute must in the kitchen in my books. It just saves so much mess, so much rubbish. I've just lightly dusted it with a little bit of flour. But what we do, we grab our Thermomix bowl like so and tip it upside down, and we just twist this little base bit here a couple of times. And I was hugging it, so I probably warmed the bowl up a little bit. I just realized. But you twist it around a few times and we can see the dough is about to plop out. There it is. Now there is still a little bit in there. So what I'm going to do is just pop the bowl back into the machine. I'll just close that down, and I'm just going to come back to home, and I'm just going to whiz this for a few seconds and throw all the dough off that, just threw all the dough off the blade and onto the side of the bowl. And now you can see here, as I tip this out, everything's just going to fall out. And if it doesn't, I will just pop my little fingers in there. I have washed my hands, and you can just run the dough ball around the inside of your bowl and pick up all the last minute bit goodies in there. And you can see that's almost perfectly clean. Now we do have a quick clean function on the Thermomix, and if you do end up buying a Thermomix or you've got one, your consultant will show you how to do that. But that's all the dough out. And then my screen's all dirty. Once I flicked out of that recipe, the Thermomix actually bookmarks where I was at. So it brings you back to where we were. And it just says wrap your dough. So just roll your dough into a nice ball like so. Nothing, we're not really kneading it. We're just making it tidy. And all we're going to do is roll this into the Thermomat, tuck the little ends under. And I just want to show you, because it's cool tonight and I've got stone benches, I've actually got one of our thermoservers, which is our one of our host rewards. And I've just popped a bit of hot water in there. I don't know if you can see the steam coming out, but I'm just going to make this like a little hot water bed for our dough to sit on. And then it's going to rise in the next 30 minutes. So I'll put that to the side, and because I have an extra bowl, we're just going to strip straight back into here, and we're going to continue with the recipe. Now, this next step of the recipe, oh, actually, you probably want to see me now. That's a bit close. Okay, so the next step of this recipe is actually grating cheese. So it does ask for 150 grams of cheese. Now, if you buy it in the block, you're going to save yourself money. If you buy the 500 gram block or the 1 kilo block of cheese, it's far cheaper than buying pre-grated cheese. It also doesn't have anti-caking agents, and it doesn't have like your other little additives that they slip in to stop things, going moldy and what have you. So what I do when I come home from groceries, I buy a block of cheese, I cube it up and I pop it into the Thermomix, and I just basically follow this step, which would be add it in, put the lid on and grate for 6 seconds, and you get this. So this is grated cheese. Now we have a big container in the fridge. So the kids make their wraps for school. They just go to the cheese and it's already pre-grated. You can also, when cheese is on special, especially Parmesan cheese, you can pre-buy it and freeze it. And that way you've got, if it's on special or reduced to clear, you'll have it in the freezer. So this recipe, obviously, I've already pre-weighed. So we're just going to transfer this now into a large bowl because I've done that. So I'll do that in a second. So we've skipped that step. So if you were at home and you already had your cheese grated, you would just weigh out 100 and you can go backwards. You would weigh out 150 grams of cheese. Okay, so we're just going to skip forward. And now we're going to go into the next step, which is we're going to add 5 sprigs of mint, fresh mint, into the Thermomix bowl. So I've added it into here. 5 sprigs of fresh parsley. Now, again, when you get a Thermomix, I can only suggest to you, especially with prices of veggies and herbs at the moment, start a little herb garden. So you could get quite addicted to this. So pop your herbs in there. And then you're going to add in your 60 grams of baby spinach. So that's all going to go into my Thermomix bowl like so. And then we're going to insert the mixing bowl lid, which is this one. And we're going to chop these leaves, so our mint, our parsley and our spinach, for 2 seconds on speed 6. And then I'll show you what that looks like. Okie dokie. We tap next. And you can see in that now, my lighting is a little bit dodgy. Can you see how finely chopped that all is? So just
can see it.
Yep, you can see. Okay, good-o. So then it says transfer that into a large bowl. And to save time, I've got another bowl because I'll scrape that out in a moment once we get our next step going. I will tear that off and then we're going to add in our oil. So we've got 40 grams of olive oil going into the jug. And you'll see our scales weigh in 1 gram increments and there's 40 grams. So then we go next and we're going to add 5 cloves of garlic. Now I've got 6 because one of mine is just really tidgy, little baby ones. So garlic you can peel in your Thermomix as well. And you'll see there's a little bit of oil in mine. I store mine covered in oil. That way I've always got garlic infused oil if I need to. So a little bit of extra oil is not going to hurt there. And then we're going to go next. We've got a brown onion that I've peeled and quartered. So that's going to go into our bowl. The next thing we're going to add in, so I've again pre-prepped. I've got a teaspoon of ground cumin. I've got a teaspoon of ground coriander and a teaspoon of paprika. So I've just added all that in. That's going into the bowl. Now we're going to go next. Pop the lid on and oops, oh dear, the reality of live videoing. So here's what I prepared earlier. So we're going to chop our onions and our herbs all up, our onions and our garlic and our spice blends, 3 seconds on speed 7. And you'll hear that little sound at the end that tells you that that job is done. And you'll see what we've got there. So that is in 3 seconds, garlic, the spices and the onions all chopped. And I'm not crying. I don't have, tears running down my face. I don't have smelly onion all over my hands. And I find that because it's being chopped in the bowl, so much more flavour is retained. You're not losing a lot of flavour onto the chopping board. You're not losing flavour onto the blade of your knife. It's all being retained into the bowl. So it tells us here, scrape down the sides of the Thermomix bowl with the spatula, which I've just done. Insert the lid again, tap next. And now we're going to cook that on Varoma temperature, which is one of our highest, second highest heat functions. So this is sauteing our garlic and onion and our spice mix. And for that 3 minutes, I'll throw back to Laura. Ooh, go.
Thanks, Jen. And I'm actually going to throw over to Penny, who's going to get our next dish started while you go with that.
Hi, everyone. So I am doing a honey barbecue chicken with rice. The recipe is just for honey barbecue chicken, so I thought I would make my rice. So I've done this on manual mode, and I did it while everyone was standing by. So I don't know if you can see that. I've got the glider board, and it makes moving your thermo so easy. So all I've got in here is 480 grams of boiling water and 250 grams of rice. I cooked that for 5 minutes on Varoma, reverse the stirring speed. So all I'm going to do now, that's what it looks like. I'm just going to pop it into our thermo server, and it's just going to sit here for 20-25 minutes, and it will be cooked by the time our main dish is finished. So it's a great way to save time. You can bulk up your meal. So not only will I have the barbecue chicken, which cooks in 20 minutes, I will also have my rice, which would basically be ready at the same time. So I'm just going to pop my lid on, and that's just going to sit. Do you want me to start the chicken, Laura?
Yeah, go for it. I think you've got time.
Yeah. So this recipe is on Cookie Do, and it's called honey barbecue chicken. So it does require you to marinate your chicken for half an hour, but for the purpose of tonight, we are not. So I'll just follow the steps. So place a bowl on the mixing bowl lid, and then weigh in 800 grams of chicken thighs, boneless with skin. So I misread the recipe, and I have skinless chicken thighs, but that should still be okay. And then we're just going to pour all our marinated ingredients in there. So we got 30 grams of light soy. We will have 30 grams of oyster sauce. 30 grams of brown sugar. I'm not quite sure what recipe platform this is on. I think it might be, comes up international. It could be a Malaysian dish or...
Yeah, it's in the Malaysian Cookie Do.
Yeah, if you change your filters, it definitely comes up.
Mm-hmm.
So 30 grams of honey. And Laura, this is the beautiful honey you gave us for Christmas.
Love it. Love local honey.
And I'm almost out of it. So 30 grams of dark soy. Uh, 50 grams of the Chinese rice wine. All of these ingredients you can pretty much buy at Woolworths or Coles. Now, years ago, you probably never would have found them all. And then 5 grams of the dark sesame oil. And a pinch of pepper. And so then you mix that all up and you let that marinate. So I'll just let that sit for a couple of minutes. Do you want me to start the next one, Laura?
I think we might need to go back to Jen, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
We'll come back to you.
Sounds good.
All right. So whilst Penny was doing her dish, our Thermomix has gone on its way cooking. And what we've got here is our beautiful sauteed onion, garlic, and our spice mix. So now our recipe is asking us to add in 500 grams of minced chicken, beef, or lamb. So I've got that here. Now, I must admit, I've got a little bit more because it was a packet. So, but let's not worry about it. It'll work perfectly. It's beef, and it's always good when you know you can beef up pardon the pun, but beef up your dishes. So I've made this plenty of times. Obviously, the meat that I've been buying has been coming in sort of, I think, 700 gram packs. Or I may have weighed this one, I think. Okay, so what we've got here now, skipping ahead, so in went the mince into the bowl with the mixture. And now we've got a tablespoon of plain flour in here. We've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We've got 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We've got, the next, so in goes the pepper and the salt and the flour. And the next ingredient is 30 grams of lemon juice. So I just squeeze that and pop that into the Thermomix. And in goes our lid again, or on goes our lid, tapping next. And this is going to cook for 4 minutes. So I'll shoot back to the girls and and then I'll show you the finished product.
Thanks, Jen. I'm going over to Penny because she's going to start on another great recipe.
Hi, sorry. So what I am going to do is make a cake, and it is called the chocolate Feta crowd cake. And this literally does feed a crowd. It makes a huge amount. It's also egg-free and dairy-free as well. So quite good for food allergies. So it even tells you to place a casserole dish filled 3/4 full with water onto the bottom shelf of the oven, which I have already done, and preheated to 180, and to grease and line a rectangular cake tin. I'll show you the size of what I'm using just to give you an idea. So that is a glass Pyrex baking dish. So I will cook my cake in that, which is heaps. Let's just make such a massive amount. So what we're going to do is pop in our oil, and I'm just using vegetable oil. You could use a light tasting olive oil. I didn't realize that was brand new. But you wouldn't want to use like a full flavour olive oil. I would think maybe an avocado oil. So 80 grams of oil. Then we're going to pop in 400 grams of water. Oh, look at that, 400, spot on. 2 teaspoons of natural vanilla extract. So another way to make bulk and cheap things is to make your own vanilla. So I've bought some vanilla beans. I don't know if you can see them in there. And this has been sitting in, I think this is vodka. It's been sitting in the cupboard for 12 months. And the smell is just amazing. So I'm sort of going to estimate. You can never have enough vanilla, right? And then we're going to put in 40 grams of balsamic vinegar. And 2 teaspoons of bicarb soda, which I thought I had all the ingredients out, but it appears not. And this will start fizzing in the bowl. It's actually quite cool to look at. Then we're going to pop in 400 grams of raw sugar. I've run out of room, my kitchen's tiny. So our raw sugar goes in. 400 grams. So it is quite a sweet cake, and you could probably cut the sugar down a little bit if you wanted to. I don't think I've ever adjusted the sugar in it, but I am sure that there are people who have. And then 510 grams of self-raising flour. 50 grams of cocoa powder. I knew I would run short on. And then a pinch of salt. And then we pop our lid on. Show you inside the bowl. Just move my laptop. It's quite full, so it does make a fabulous size. Okay. So that's just going to mix on speed 5 for 30 seconds.
I might go over to Jen then, Penny, because you're just going to mix that and pour it in the tray, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so I have got my meat cooking for the next step was scrape down the sides of the bowl and then start it up again for 5 minutes. But I just want to show you our dough has risen beautifully on the on top of the thermo server. So whilst we've still got 3.5 minutes going here, I'm actually going to just jump back over to here. Won't be a sec. And I just lost where I was at. So we've got our bits cooking. And the good thing about having another Thermomix on the side here is I can see where I'm at. But okay, so while that cooks, so what I'm going to do now is unwrap the dough and show you just what that looks like. So look at that beautifully risen dough. Okay, and then what the recipe tells me to do is now roll this out and we get 16 serves out of this dough. Let me see if I can show you. So I'm only going to do one just to be quick tonight, and then I'll obviously make the rest for my family, but I will get a Thermomix, a spatula. We don't want to ever cut on our Thermomix, on our Thermomat, but I'm just going to kind of estimate. So we've got 2, 4, no, 8, plus that. So now this is where maths comes in handy, and kids get right into this. If you've got young children, you can really get them into, you know, doing the maths, dividing up, you know, getting them thinking about how they would serve, you know, 16 people. Now this is a little bit rough, but let's just go ahead. But you can see here I've got my little dough balls, and you can be extra, you know, careful and add, you know, even them up a little bit more and things like that. But you're going to get 16 serves out of this. I'm going to grab these and pop to the side because we're going to make these in a little bit of time because my son's home from football and the kids will be starving. And what I'm going to do is roll this out. So make a little ball and then roll it out into a nice little circle, as it tells us to do. So it says roughly about 15 to, so each ball is going to weigh about 40 grams. So you could actually, if you have finished cooking, I won't do it now, but you could pop a plate onto the top of your Thermomix. Sorry, I should put my face back in there. You'll pop a plate up onto here, hit your scales and weigh nice little 40-gram balls, but I just guesstimated. And then you can roll out your dough ball. Oh, I just creased that one, which wasn't very smart. But there we go. I'll just show you what that, I mean, that's pretty rough, but we're on a time limit. And then once this is cooked, I'll show you the next little bit where I add the meat, fold it over, and I might perfect it in the meantime. So we'll flick back to the girls.
Sorry, I was on mute. Penny, are you ready to do the next dish, or you need a minute?
Well, this
Just
recipe has
2
to
minutes.
cook. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Everyone needs a minute?
Yeah, I've just popped the cake in the oven, so it's going to cook for 40 to 45 minutes. I'm just going to wash my bowl.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. I wonder, I don't have time to. Okay, I do have time. I'm going to show you all. Where am I? Okay, I want to show you all cookie dough just for a minute because this is awesome. And I know you're seeing it on our Thermomix screens, but I really want to show you how it works on the app or the website, and also works on the screen as well. I need to get rid of that. So this is our cookie dough homepage, and as you scroll down, it gives you the latest recipes. There's videos, you've got what's trending. Love that there's a cocktail trending too. And as you go down, there's spotlights, savings, and our latest collections. So if you want to see what's the newest recipes, there's new recipes every month, which is another great feature of Cookie Do. But mainly what you want to do is just come in here and start typing something. So what's something you would type? Just a random ingredient to find out some of the recipes that come up. Another thing you can do, if you already know what you want to cook, you would type that in. So if you want to find that chocolate crowd cake that Penny made, you can just type in the title of it and it will come up. If you don't know what you want to make, but you know it wants to be something that's healthy, you can just type in a keyword. You don't have to know what you're doing. You could even just type in, like if you want it to be a breakfast idea, just type in the word breakfast. Or what was it? Father's Day. Let's see if something comes up for Father's Day. Yeah. That was the first holiday I could think of that's coming up soon. But if you want to specifically find recipes that are made for bigger families, something you could type in is Varoma dish, because that's going to pull up all the recipes that use the Varoma dish. And recipes that use the Varoma are more bulked up than the other recipes, because you're using the 2.2 litres in the Thermomix bowl as well as the 3.3 litres in the Varoma dish. So you can make bigger dishes. And some of these recipes are really great for that. Another thing I want to show you is the filters. So if I just get rid of that. So in the filters, you can search, narrow things down by categories, type in ingredients, especially if you want something included or not included. For example, if you put, I think it's brackets, egg, or it could be minus egg actually. It's minus egg. If you wanted it particularly not to have a certain ingredient. The other thing is you can use a tag. So you could be like gluten-free or dairy-free or whatever tag you want it to have. Difficulty level, I wouldn't worry too much about difficulty level. I think everything's fairly easy. But the one I wanted to show you is the portions. So you can filter, if you're entertaining or if you have a bigger family, you can filter out all the recipes that particularly have 8 or more portions. You can also filter by ratings. And the last one I wanted to show you in particular, because your default setting on Cookie Dough for all of you when you first get your Thermomix is that Australia is ticked. And that means you're getting all the recipes that head office in Australia have generated. So if we broaden that to include all English recipes, I'm going to be getting all the recipes generated in the US, the UK, Singapore, Switzerland, Malaysia, all the recipes that have English recipes. So if I didn't want Varoma dish there. I just wanted my 8+. So I've got 3,658 results based on 8 or more portions. And a lot of them are sweets. If you wanted it particularly to be a dinner, you would just narrow it down with that filter. But if you just want to have a look at the big portion recipes, that's really great. You can see some of them are really great for entertaining. Oh, yum. Okay. I'm seeing some recipes I haven't seen before. So use your filters to make sure you're getting those recipes that do feed bigger crowds, and making sure you're broadening your search. If you speak other languages, add them in too. That's really awesome as well. So I feel like I've probably taken too much time and I need to go back to Jen. And I want to show you, there's more cookie dough stuff that I'm excited to show you. I'll have to show you later. Sorry, Jen, I took too long.
No, you didn't. That was perfect. So again, I just skipped ahead a little bit. So our meat is all cooked, and I'll be able to show you that if I can lift this up without tipping it all over my bench. Can you see the meat is all cooked there nicely? It's all ground and crumbled. So that's totally cooked and ready to go. It smells amazing. Now, the last step was to place a plate on the top of the Thermomix bowl and just weigh in 150 grams of feta cheese crumbled. So then what you do is you combine the feta cheese in with the already grated cheese and then into our herb and our spinach mix that's going to go into our Gozleme. Now, I've got a little bit of time up my sleeve now. I do need to let this meat mixture cool down. So once that's cooled for a little bit, and I'm going to just transfer a smaller amount out so it cools a bit quicker. Otherwise, it's going to sort of melt my dough and it's not going to work in the frying pan. And then what I do is combine this mixture in with the meat mixture. Then I will be dolloping about 2 tablespoons of mixture into my paste, into my dough here onto the board. So, and I find this is again, from our mix shop, it's a little ice cream scoop. It's rose gold. It's really pretty, but it's perfect for scooping out muffin mixture into patty cake, into muffin liners or cupcake liners. It's that kind of perfect 1 tablespoon amount, heaped tablespoon. And I'm going to use that to scoop up my 2 tablespoons that I'm going to pop into here. And I'll just show you quickly once it's cooled down a little bit, how to construct it. And then I'll pop them in the frying pan and make a Gozleme for dinner. It might be my dinner.
Thanks, Jen. We'll go over to Penny in the meantime. We've got lots to keep showing you tonight, so we need to keep moving.
Okay, so cake is in the oven cooking for 40 minutes. We're going back to our chicken dish. So pretend our chicken's been marinating for 30 minutes. It has not. So our last step was set aside in refrigerator. Okay, so then place the marinated chicken and marinade into the bowl and then pop the lid on. So I'm just going to tip it in the bowl. Now I'm going to pop my lid on. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. It wants us to pop our lid and measuring cup on and then cook it for 20 minutes on Varoma. So I'm just going to try and stretch it out a little bit more. I'm going to actually stick my Varoma on here and I'm going to cook some bok choy at the same time. Now, I wouldn't cook like normal veggies. I wouldn't cut up carrots unless you julienne them really finely. But bok choy is good because it doesn't need a lot to cook because it's not going to create a huge amount of steam. So we'll see how that goes on top. I've actually not tried it before. And that's just going to cook on stirring speed reverse for 20 minutes on Varoma.
Great, thank you. So while that's cooking, I have a pre-recorded video of one I've done earlier. I've got a few things to show you tonight. I wanted to show you a giant pasta because this really does feed a lot of people. It feeds my family over 2 nights, really. So I want to show that to you now. So here we go. Hey, I wanted to show you how to make this tomato pasta with vegetables and feta. It's a really big dish that can feed a larger family and quite budget friendly as well. It is a vegetarian dish that makes quite a lot of pasta. If you wanted to make it with meat in it, you could add a can of tuna or add some diced chicken in to the Varoma with the veggies or some cut up ham, something like that. But I like it the way it is. Our family enjoys this recipe and it feeds all 6 of us with leftovers usually. So well, definitely. So I'm just going to press start and show you how it is done. The first step is to add carrot just chopped in pieces, an onion and some garlic. So all that is just going in. So carrot, onion, garlic, yeah. And then it's telling me to put the lid on. So we do that and we're going to chop that on speed 7 for 3 seconds. I'm going to want a spatula to scrape that down. So scrape down. So I'll show you what we have here. Nicely chopped. A lot of recipes, when they say to add in an onion and saute the onion and garlic, I often add veggies, zucchini, capsicum, carrots, spinach, whatever, mushrooms. This time I'm just following the recipe that has the carrot in it because we're going to be putting a lot of veggies in it later as well. So add some oil. The scales come up anytime it asks you to add an ingredient. So just watching the scales as it gets up to 20 grams. As my oil slowly drizzles in. Cool. And so now we're going to saute that for 3 minutes on 120 degrees speed 1. While that's happening, I can show you. While that is happening, I will look ahead by pressing these 3 dots and go to the recipe detail so I can go to the pantry and get the rest of these ingredients out. So I've got 3 minutes to be productive, get everything out. But I'll pause the video for yourself. It's doing its cool down now, so only a few seconds. I'll explain in a second. So now we are adding the rest of the sauce ingredients. So the scales have come up. It's asking us for some water. So that we're making this sauce here and we're going to be cooking the pasta in this sauce. So water is an important ingredient in the sauce so that it can absorb into the dried pasta. I don't want to overgo it. It's good. So, yep. Then we press next, see what's next. So we're putting in our tinned tomatoes. And that's asking for 2 tins. You could put fresh in if you wanted, or you could use passata if that's what you've got. Whatever you've got to make a tomato, sauce. And I've used whole tomatoes because that's just what I buy. So I'm going to need to just turn up the speed a little bit to blend it in. And that's okay. It only takes a few seconds. So if you use diced tomatoes, you wouldn't need to do that. How are we going? This look pretty empty. Okay. And some tomato paste, which you can make in your Thermomix. The recipe on Cookie-Doo to make tomato paste. It's basically just cooking and blending a whole heap of tomatoes. Veggie stock paste. Love it, love it. So this is our very interesting looking ingredient. Hopefully you've all got some. I'm almost at the end, as you can see. Need to scrape some out. The recipe for veggie stock paste fills this whole container and then you keep it in your freezer. And because of all the salt content, it stays soft and scoopable. I've had this out for a few minutes now, so it's a bit runnier than normal, but yeah, it's really easy. It's great. I love making my own stock paste because then you know your whole meal is 100% homemade by you, additive free. And you just use whatever veggies and herbs you have happening at the moment in your fridge, and also saves you money. It's a lot cheaper than buying stock. So now, remember I said I needed to blend that. So I'm going to go out of the recipe by pressing home and go to my speed. I'm going to choose speed 4, just for a few seconds. Sounds good. So 4 seconds, speed 4. Now to come back into the recipe, we just press the bookmark and we're back. So one thing to let you know, I'm a bit lazy in the kitchen. So but this recipe is asking for diced veggies. So one thing I like to do is get my Thermomix to dice them for me. So, if I was thinking, I would have done that at the beginning of the recipe. I would have diced these veggies and then tipped them straight into here and then carried on with the recipe. I wasn't thinking, I just went straight into the recipe, but that's okay because I have another bowl. So it's asking me to put in some capsicum and zucchini. I'm putting in more than the recipe asks for. I've got 1.5 capsicums because I had a half capsicum ready from something else. And I've got really big zucchinis. So that is all just going in. So I've got a very full bowl of veggies. And I want to slice those on speed 4. Because I don't care that they look perfectly arched or cubed. I just want them to be bite-sized. That looks pretty good, actually. So that was a few seconds. I can show you what we've got here. Nicely diced. Kind of make sure by just scraping around. Looks good. So now so you could do that by hand, or yeah, as I said, before the recipe begins, do that in the Thermomix and then set it aside in your Varoma. So I put my Varoma on, and it's asking me to add my capsicum cut into slices and my zucchini cut into little slices. So easy, it's all just going on. You can't see what I'm doing really, but it's not that exciting. Just pouring into the Varoma. And yeah, I've bulked it up a bit than what the recipe says, actually quite a bit now that I look at the scales, but I like to do that. So all of that coming out of that second bowl. And then we're going to add in some frozen peas, 150 grams. And you could put more if you wanted. Put in a few more. Just pour it in. It's the main thing is that you're not overflowing the Varoma. And then we're putting in some mushrooms cut into strips. I'm just going to move this around a bit. So it was actually cheaper, so funny, to buy sliced mushrooms than it was to buy whole mushrooms. So whatever. So adding in, if I was buying whole mushrooms, I would have added it in with the zucchini and capsicum and got the Thermomix to dice it for me. Okay, but that's going in. I'm putting in a bit more than the scales say because I've got some room at the top of my Varoma. And you know, as I said, we're wanting to feed a crowd. I'll show you what we've got happening so far. So we've got our zucchini, capsicum, peas, and mushrooms. And then we're going to put in some feta, which I have just cubed by hand, because it would be a gooey mess if I put that in the Thermomix. And that's okay, that's quick. Sometimes it's okay to actually do some work. And the last step is some herbs, I think. Yeah, season with herbs. I've got thyme, oregano, whatever herbs you want to use, and salt. It says to do a teaspoon, so I'm being very generous with this shaker. Okay, so then we're going to secure our lid, and that is going to cook. So above, the sauce will cook in here, and above it we've got the Varoma steaming, and then after 9 minutes, when it's hopefully heated up, we add the pasta in and we continue cooking. So for those few minutes, I'll just pause the recording. Okay, that is been cooking for 9 minutes. It tells us to remove the Varoma. So it's going to drip a bit. So you could take the lid off, but in the interest of keeping the steam in, I'm just going to pop it into my bowl. You could just put it on a board. Okay, so we're going to add some pasta. It says to use short dried pasta, like penne, fusilli. I don't know what that word is. I'm just using elbows because that's what jumps out at me. And just watching the scales as I pour it in. Doesn't matter if I go a bit over, because I can see there's room in there. As long as you don't go over the max line, you're all good. So, and I don't know if the recipe says to do this or not. It doesn't, but I should just show you. It's sitting, the pasta's just kind of on top of the sauce. So just to give it a little helping hand, I do like to just make sure it's all incorporated. There, just so it cooks evenly. Only takes a second to do things like that. So Varoma comes back. And we carry on. So now this wants to cook for 10 minutes. And then it will be ready. Okay, that is perfect. Finishing. So I think the next step is just to combine everything. So whenever I take the lid off my Varoma, I do it away from my face. So I don't know if you can see. Doing it this way so that the steam, see all that steam that's come out? I don't want that coming towards my face. So, and then I tip the lid upside down and I can use that as a drip tray. I also like to tip my, very saucy here. I'm just gonna scrape that in. I like to tip my bowl lid upside down as well to put on the bench so it doesn't drip everywhere. And then I tip all this in here. This is all the pasta and the sauce. You can see it's a lot. And sorry, just getting that all out. And okay, yeah. So I'm using a really big bowl. This is a huge bowl that I'm using. Just whatever you have works. If you don't have a nice big bowl, you could use a big pot or something, whatever. And then adding in all these veggies that have all been steaming here. I don't know if you saw just then, but there was leftover room in the Varoma. We could have even added more than what the recipe said. But this really does, as it is, feeds a lot of people. But yeah, being able to bulk it up even more is good if you've got extra people to feed. So then it's just a matter of stirring it all through. It smells really good and I'm actually hungry, so this is great. I don't know if you just heard through the speaker, but my husband just got home, so he's ready to eat as well. And here we have a giant pot of pasta, all made in the Thermomix with very little effort on my behalf, as you saw. And the whole time the Thermomix was paused for those cooking times, I was not in the kitchen doing anything. And there we go. I need to tilt the camera so you can see better. So, oh, the other thing I was going to say, if you wanted to make it even more budget friendly, even though this is quite cheap, like you can use whatever veggies are in season, whatever you've got. You can use frozen if that's better for you, whatever you have. If you didn't want to use the feta, you could just leave that out, and at the end stir through some grated normal tasty cheese. So but the feta does taste really good. Just wanting to share another money saving tip that you can just substitute anything out to suit your budget. Cool. Well, there you go. A nice big one pot pasta. Okay, so hopefully you saw there how you can feed a crowd with that big pasta. It really does feed a lot. I'm unsure if Jen's ready for me or if you want me to go to the next. Yep, she's ready. Okay, sorry.
All right, guys. So whilst that video was showing, I was being the little perfectionist. So I actually weighed out my dough, and I've actually got 18 pieces. So, and they roughly range pretty close to 50 to 45 to 48 grams each. So you can see I've got 18 little dough balls there, and they all stretch out to this. Now I just made, just to be quick and to cool it down, because clearly I've got all this and it's still piping hot. So I don't want the feta and the cheese to completely melt and become, you know, over mushy. So I just, whilst we were talking, and I just changed bowls so you could see in here, I just scooped out a little bit of the mince and left it in the fridge to cool quickly. And then I've just mixed through that feta, cheese and herb and spinach mixture. Then I've just laid 2 tablespoons roughly onto the Gozleme dough, and it just says to press down on half with your fingers or the palm of your hand. Now I was just quickly reading there's another tip. So I'm going to cook mine in the frying pan. We often do ours on the barbecue, but also there's a tip on Thermomix, on the cookie dough, where if you go to recipe details, there's always these like tips or variations. And it actually says, instead of pan frying, so if you're a little bit extra health conscious, it actually says you can bake these gozleme in the oven for 10 minutes. But that would be also excellent if you've got a pizza oven. You would be able to do that. So I'm just going to pick this up here. So you can see this is definitely like 2 of my hand palm sizes. And whilst we flick over to what the girls are doing next, I'll put this into my frying pan, and this is going to cook for approximately, I think they said here, 2 to 3 minutes each side, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, bye, Laura.
Oh, there I am. Thank you. Okay, we're moving on to the next recipe I want to share with you all, which is a really big fried rice. So we're trying to show you a different variety of foods tonight. So hopefully that's coming across. Hey, I wanted to show you how to make a really quick cheats version of fried rice. It's not fried, but it's made in the Thermomix, and it's really quick, and it feeds a lot of people. Feeds my family of 6 with leftovers. But it's just, yeah, it's really good. So it's based on the recipe I originally started using. It's called Quirky Cooking's fried rice recipe. So you can Google that, Quirky Cooking fried rice, but you'll see how you can just adapt it to whatever you want to put in it and your methods. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop some ham and veggies. So I've got ham, I roughly chopped it, carrot roughly chopped, lost my hand, zucchini and capsicum, but it's like whatever veggies you want to do. And if you want these to all look perfectly cubed, you can do this by hand. I like the way the Thermomix chops it. I don't have an issue with it being triangular and a bit funny, as long as it's bite sized for the fried rice. So all I do is turn it to speed 4, maybe about 4 seconds. And I kind of look. That looks pretty good. If you have a look and you want to do it longer, you can do that. Okay, there's a few pieces that I do. I'll just show you what I've got there. There's a few pieces that I'm thinking are a bit big. So I'll just do it another 2 seconds maybe. And that's the beauty of it. It's better when you're chopping something in the Thermomix to stop it earlier and have a look, because you can always put it back on and do it longer. But if you go too far, you can't go backwards. So I'm going to turn it on for another few seconds. That was 1. Okay, yeah, another 2 more seconds. So I'm going to set that aside in the Varoma dish. All those veggies. So just in the bottom of the dish. And then we're going to mix the egg in the Thermomix. You could mix it by hand, but it's really quick just to do it in the machine. Doesn't matter if there's a few veggies in there, because what I'm going to do now is mix this egg. I've got 5 eggs, but you could have 4 or however many you want. And it won't matter if some of these veggies and ham are just sort of worked into the omelette. That's all fine. So maybe speed 5 for a few seconds. Yeah. And I've got some baking paper here that I scrunched up, I wet it. So now I'm just lengthening it again to fill the Varoma tray. So you can get these perfectly cut baking paper sheets from the mix shop, or just use normal baking paper that you can make to fit in your Varoma tray. So here we go. I'm just going to pour that whipped egg on top of the tray. Looks good. And I'll try and get most of it out. So now we're ready to begin cooking the rice. So I will get my simmer basket, put this in. and weigh in, turn on my scales, and weigh in up to 400 grams of rice. It's up to you how much your family will eat. Sometimes I just do 350, but I'm trying to show now how we can make a lot of food. So I'll do a bit more. So it's about 3 cups of rice. Yeah. And so now that it's in my simmer basket, I want to rinse that. I want to just pour water over it till it runs a bit clear, and then I'll add water in my bowl till it's about up to the 1 litre mark. So this is just getting out some of the starch in the rice. Not that big of a deal, like it's up to you. It also depends where you get your rice. So that's rinsed enough. Now I'll just add a litre of water into my bowl. There's capacity markings in the bowl, so you don't have to measure that in, a kilo of water. You can either measure it in using the scales or just look at the capacity lines that are in the actual bowl. So yeah, water's in. In Kirky's recipe, she also puts in a can of coconut milk in there, so it's sort of half milk, coconut milk, half water. It flavors the rice differently. I'm just being quick today and I didn't bother getting out a can of that. Putting the lid on, and I'm going to set this for 20 minutes. Aroma temperature, speed 4. And while that's going, I'll lift my aroma dish on top. And now, as you can see, there's some room in there to add some more veggies. And what I'll do is I always like to leave a bit of a hole in the middle so that the steam can really circulate really easily. So to kind of fill up some more veggies while it's heating up, I'm not losing time with this steam, even though I've already set it and I don't have the lid on and all the veggies in yet. It's okay because it takes a few minutes to heat up. So it's just a matter of getting it done quickly. I'm just going to add a few little florets of broccoli, which I didn't do in the Thermomix, but could have. I actually didn't even think to. They wouldn't look like perfect little florets. But again, if your family's just eating it and you don't care what it looks like, that wouldn't matter. So the broccoli will go in. And then whatever room I have left around is what I'm going to fill with some peas and corn. Finish that bag. So just some frozen, you could use canned, frozen's good too, whatever works for you. I'm not completely filling the aroma because I still need room to put my egg omelette on top. So just sort of filling it as much as I think until it fits the tray on. I'll show you what I've got actually. So it's pretty full. And now this will sit on top. Careful so I don't spill the egg. Yeah, great. And now put my lid on. Now I can go away and 18 minutes later, the fried rice will be ready just to add a sauce and that's it. Okay, so that's finished. And so what you'd want to do now is just check that it's all cooked. And I can see the egg is like still the slightest bit runny. So what I'm going to do is remove the varoma and take out the rice because we can carry on with this. So you use the hook in your spatula. I don't know if you can see this hook here to get your simmer basket out. And what I will do is put this lid back on and just cook this for another. You know, when the screen has drips on it, it doesn't work very well. So it's not detecting my finger right now. So all you need to do is give it a good dry and a clean. So I will do this for another about 2 minutes. just put the whole varoma back on. It's probably a good idea to give it a stir. So if I just lift the egg off, which it really is almost done, you can see all that steam coming off there. And just give all this a bit of a stir. Yeah, this all looks very nicely cooked. Make sure there's a hole in it again so that it can just finish off that egg. And while that's happening, we empty our rice in here. That was a very full simmer basket. Got a nice amount of rice. And we are going to add a sauce. So you could actually, on Cookie there's a really yummy sauce called for teriyaki, a yummy recipe for teriyaki sauce, which you can make and just have in your fridge ready. But I'm just making one up at the moment. So I'm going to add some tamari or just soy sauce, whatever you want to add in. You could do oyster or fish sauce or whatever you want as well. Kick out menace. I'm putting in sesame oil. I love the flavor of sesame oil in Asian inspired recipes, and a little bit of sweet chili. And so just give that all a stir. You could add crushed garlic, whatever you want. Doesn't matter, anything, whatever flavors you like. I'm just being simple though. But yeah, use whatever you've got in your pantry or fridge. Okay, just stirring it all around, making sure it's really incorporated. And then we will add everything else in. So now if I get rid of this egg, I can add the veggies. Get all that out. Oh, the egg looks pretty done now to me, but anyway, you can have another minute while I stir in the veggies. You can see how much food I'm making here. This is a giant bowl. Yeah, this really does feed a lot of people, this rice dish. And did I already mention you could add, when I added the ham, we could have added chicken, black diced chicken into this varoma bowl with veggies. Or right now, if you wanted to add tuna, it would be a good time to add that now. Or you could just have it vegetarian, just don't put in the ham. It's like you just add whatever you want. It's your fried rice. Some people add some prawns. Okay, so with this egg, this looks good. Yeah, so with this egg, use your spatula to dice it. And it will just fall off that baking paper. And then you can just incorporate it into the rice. Don't know if you can see the strips coming off. Perfect. So that's really good. And the egg is just a yummy addition. You know, you always want egg in your fried rice. If you don't, if you have allergies, leave this out. You could fill your varoma even more because you're not having to add in that tray. So yeah, you can see the egg pieces just come off. Yeah, so I will just dip that in. Make sure all the pieces are off. And so there we have our fried rice to feed a crowd. Hopefully you've seen how easy that is and how much it makes. This is giant, all made in your Thermomix and varoma. So, yep. Happy cheats fried rice. Enjoy. Okay, so there you all go. So yeah, hopefully you saw how easy that was to make a fried rice. We're going to go to Penny. I know Jen's waiting as well, but Penny has been waiting to show us the chicken.
Okay, so chicken is done, rice is done. So I'm just going to serve it up. So we're just going to you know what's really embarrassing? I just moved my screen down and I'm wearing my pajama pants with my Thermomix shirt. So the comfort of our own home. So this is our rice, and you can just fluff it up a little bit, but it's perfectly cooked. So I will pop some of that in the bowl, and I've literally just had the buzzer for the oven go off. The cake, so I'll check that too in a minute. So our bok choy cooks perfectly. And our chicken is cooked. Now I'm going to tell you a little secret about this chicken. I didn't read the recipe properly, and it actually says to use whole, well, it doesn't say to cut the chicken thighs. It just says chicken thighs with skin, and I did cut mine. But anyway, either way, it clearly works because Laura said she has done it before with whole chicken thigh. And then you can garnish that with some sesame seeds, which I had out, and now I don't know where I put. But that's our chicken, rice, and our bok choy on the side. You can obviously do a lot more bok choy than that, but that's a really good way to stretch out a chicken dish. And I reckon you could easily cook more than 800 grams of chicken.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks, Penny. A lot of the recipes actually I bulk up. So like there's the creamy chicken coconut curry, those types of recipes. When it says 500 grams of chicken, you can add a kilo, you can add 1.5 kilos. As long as you're staying under the max line, you really can bulk up a lot of the recipes. And if you're making rice in the thermoserver at the same time, you're bulking up your meal really nicely. So that's awesome. Thanks, Penny. And over to Jen.
Hi guys, so I just wanted to show you the finished product. So we have got, if I tip this here, you'll see the top. So I just cooked these in my frying pan. You'll see we've got that yummy mixture here. We've got that beautiful golden color on the dough. They're quite thick and the dough's kind of gone quite puffy. So I could have probably even done less and got even more Gozleme out of it, but that was just that one piece that I showed you when I was making them. And I just wanted to show you, because it's just myself and the kids tonight. I mean, I think their dad's eating out at football, or he'll eat when he gets home. I've just rolled those dough balls out and just lined them with baking paper. So just to keep them separated and keep them moist whilst I'm cooking, whilst I'm talking. But also I've frozen another of the eight of those balls. So then what we can do is the kids can come home from school. You can freeze this mixture as well. The kids can come home from school, grab out a couple, or, you know, if they've got a pupil-free day, they can grab out 2 dough balls in the morning, let them come to room temperature just on the kitchen bench, you know, in a container. They can roll it out. And my children love using the regular sandwich press to cook their Gozleme. So they can do a couple of little scoops of their mixture into that, fold it over and pop it into the sandwich press, and they've got their lunch or a snack after sport or something like that. So I'll freeze these ones and then they can just pull them out individually when they need to. And I will, you know, over the next couple of days, I'll even portion up some of the mixture. So they've got some smaller containers just of the mixture. But just to show you that last bit again, there you go. So we don't buy this out, but I'm pretty sure it would probably be about $8 to $10 a serve, and that's really, I mean, plus you get 2 wedges of lemon at my house because we love it. Thank you very much for watching me and my Gozleme recipe, and I hope that you can get into your Thermomix and do some fake away and some cooking for larger amounts. But you could, you know, easily double this mixture, have parties, barbecues, that kind of thing. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, Jen. And crazy that that's just one of them, one of 16. It really does feed a crowd. I have one more dish I wanted to show you before I show you my favorite stuff about cookie dough. So hang tight. This recipe that I want to show you is called the chicken layered dinner. And I just have to tell you, this is so embarrassing. I didn't have my AirPods set to the microphone. So the first 5 minutes, the audio dubbing is out. and you'll see what I mean. Just don't watch my mouth, just watch what I'm doing, and then the video comes good after the first 5 minutes. Just, you know, we're not professionals here. We're just we just love our Thermomixes. So we just want to invite you in our kitchens to show you what we're doing. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, I wanted to show you how to make this chicken layered dinner. It feeds a crowd, it feeds a big family. Basically, you'll be making a soup in the Thermomix bowl, and while you're steaming your chicken and veggies up the top, and then we make a gravy to go over it on the end. So we'll just get started. I've put it in the weekly planner for today. Just need to pull up the recipe. Yeah, and basically we're going to start with a rub. So we're going to be, yep, so the chicken's in the aroma dish ready, and we're going to add in the lemon zest and some herbs. I've just used a veggie peeler to get the lemon zest off the lemon. And we press next, and we put the lid on. We're going to blend that on speed 9 for 20 seconds. Okay, so that's done. And we're going to be adding some salt and spices now, but I'll just show you what we've got actually. You can see the zest is all nicely zested. Give it a scrape down. And now we'll add some paprika and salt. I've already measured out here. Just putting it in. Okay. So now we're going to put the lid on, and we're going to mill that for 10 seconds on speed 9. And so that's done. I'll show you what we've got now. Looks good. So we're going to rub that over the chicken. And it doesn't matter if you leave some of it in the bowl, because what's going to happen is that we're not going to wash the bowl. We're going to just go on and make the soup. So that flavor will just be in there. But I'll just use my hand to get that all over the chicken. Rub it all over. Just want to get it evenly over. I think this chicken's a bit bigger than the one the recipe said to use in the recipe, but that's okay. It will steam. As long as it fits in the varoma, that's fine. So get it everywhere, all around. Also in the cavity, there's, before I turned on the video, there's a lemon and some garlic and rosemary. So I'll just wash that hand. Okay, so there's our chicken ready. And we're going to make the soup. So first thing we need is some leek and garlic. My leek's a little bit bigger than the recipe said. I've also added some extra garlic, and that's okay. So the first thing to do is chop that for a few seconds on speed 5. Do a dance. Okay, so we're going to scrape down the bowl, add some oil, and then saute. I'll just show you how nicely it's chopped in only a few seconds. Scrape it down, and then so the scales come up. You know, the guided cooking is showing you along the way everything you need to do, and so I'll just be watching the scales to see when it starts reaching 30 grams of oil. Cool. So it tells you to put the lid on, and we're going to saute that for 3 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 1. And while that's happening, I know I've shown you this before, but for those who haven't seen it, there's these 3 dots up the top of the screen. If you press that, you can go into the recipe details, so you can scroll down, look ahead, and see what to do next. So now I know in that 3 minutes, I'm going to go get my pumpkin and water ready. And I'll just press continue, and I will pause the video there. So, okay, so that's all nicely been sauteing. You can see the steam coming up there, and we're just going to add our pumpkin. I've left the skin on my pumpkin. I've used butternut. It's okay to leave the skin on, and if I had use the part of the pumpkin that has the seeds in it, you can leave those in as well. I do that often. But yeah, just going in, and it's all going to be blended at the end, so it will all be incorporated. So next is adding some water, and that we'll just weigh that in. It's just under 1 litre. Okay, that looks good. And now that's all the recipe asks for, but I just think soup always needs a stock, and this is probably fine the way it is, but I haven't actually tried it because I just always add stock. So I'm adding a tablespoon of chicken stock, veggie or chicken, but this is what I pulled out of the freezer. So that's what's going in. So now the lid goes on, and we're going to take the measure cup off because we want to put our aroma into position, and then we'll secure our lid, and that is going to steam for 55 minutes on Varoma speed 1. So we'll come back and then we'll add some veggies and then make a sauce. Time is up on this, and now the only thing I'm doing now is adding in some potatoes and carrots, and then we carry on cooking for 15 minutes. So when you open your Varoma lid, open it away from you so the steam doesn't come in your face. So I'm just going to open it this way. Smells amazing. My whole house smells so good. So I'm putting in some potatoes and carrots that I've just really roughly chopped. Looks good. Put the lid back on, and off we go, cooking for another 15 minutes. So that is all finished, and I've just checked to make sure it's cooked, and it is. I just cut a little bit into the breast. So what I'm going to do now is just follow the recipes where it talks about setting all this aside, because we're going to blend the soup and then make the gravy. So this is a little bit of an awkward thing to do, but I'm just gonna kind of tip it into my really big bowl that I have here, and just make sure the chicken stays upright so it kind of looks okay. That wasn't awkward at all. It was really easy. So I have here our cooked chicken with veggies. I'm going to foil it and blend the soup. So to blend the soup, do that. We just put the measure cup in. It smells really good. And I guess all that, you know how I was talking about the stock earlier? I just realized stupidly that the chicken juices have been going into the soup. So you didn't need to add that chicken stock. We've naturally added it in. So that was silly of me. So I'm just blending this for 30 seconds. It says to go up to 5, and then we gradually step it to 9. So I can hear when it's at 5, and then I'll step it up, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so when you're wanting to pour your soup into your thermo server, the thermo server, for those who haven't heard of it, is our double insulated stainless steel serving bowl that keeps your food hot for a few hours. When you're pouring your soup in, it's available as a host reward. Just pour it on your spatula so that it drizzles in rather than splashing up at you. There's our beautiful pumpkin soup with 2 lots of chicken stock. And so it's about 2 liters worth of soup that you can see there. So you're serving this as an entree, making a mess there. Your soup is a beautiful entree, and then serving the chicken and veggies. So you can see how you can really feed a lot of people, especially when your chicken is as big as the one I used. So we're going to set that soup aside. Now the next part of the recipe is we're going to saute some onions in the butter and oil, and we're going to carry on making a gravy, which is, I feel like I don't really need to show the video of me doing it. It's just following the steps. So first of all, I've got the onion and butter in there. The recipe says to clean and dry the bowl. I'm not bothering. A little bit of pumpkin flavor in there is okay. So this wants me to, what I will show you is when it says, here it says place simmering basket instead of measuring cup onto mixing bowl lid. Now that's because it wants you to let out extra steam without splattering all over your bench. So whenever a recipe asks you to do that, the picture comes up to make it really easy anyway, but that's what that's about. And so this is just going to be sauteing, and then I'm going to add the rosemary stock and wine and water, and it's going to cook. And I'm going to add green veggies into the Veroma for the last 8 minutes of it, to steam the veggies while the gravy cooks below. So I won't bother showing that bit because it's, yeah. So that has all been cooking, the gravy and the greens together. So I'm just going to open up my foil to put the greens in there. So that, yep, just add it all around, I guess. I could have even done more greens. I did a bit more than the recipe said. I had to do 200 grams of greens. I did 300. But I'm happy with the amount of food I've got here for my family of 6. So you can see our beautiful chicken with all the veggies all around it. If you wanted to crisp up that skin, you could just put it under the grill for maybe 5 minutes. I'm not going to. Our family like it like this. We love steamed meat. It's not something we think is needs anything else. So the only last step is for our gravy is to, oh, it's over here, strain it. You can use your simmer basket, but I've kind of fashioned this to fit my gravy boot. Is just to strain it through. You watch me make a mess of this now that I've said that. Because we want the gravy in it and not the solids. And yeah, you could use the solids for something else. I don't know what, but I'm just going to throw them out. I'm almost full. It makes a lot actually of sauce. Yeah, great. Yum, yum, yum. And I'm, you know, since there's already heaps in there, I'm not going to worry too much about squishing this to death, but yeah, that looks good. So that's the end of this presentation of showing you how to make our, you see I've spilled it, but we've got our beautiful gravy there, we've got our pumpkin soup, and we've got our giant chicken with all these veggies all cooked together in the Thermomix and Veroma. It did take about an hour and a half, but not much of that time was my time. I was out of the kitchen doing other things. So I hope you can see how this can feed a bigger family. Enjoy.
And I was just saying in the chat, I didn't throw those onions out. I tasted them and they were so good. I just mixed it in with my other veggies and ate them and they were delicious. So yeah, no waste happening there. But Bernie's written in the chat that you could freeze them. And hope you've been looking in the chat. There've been a lot of other tips tonight as well in there, which has been really helpful. So I know we've gone longer than we usually go, and I am sorry about that, but we just want to share so much with you all, and we love our Thermomixes so much. I've had a Thermomix for almost 13 years, and I just love it. And I really think everyone should see it. And that's why I love being a consultant, because I like to be the one who shows people, and whether you purchase it or not, that's totally up to you. But I just think everyone should see it. And I love showing it. The other reason I love being a Thermomix consultant is for the flexibility. So as I've mentioned a few times, I have 4 children. They have a lot of activities on. I'm driving them around. They've got, you know, needs, and I just want to be there for them in the afternoons. That's my choice. And being a Thermomix consultant helps me choose my hours that I work, but I still get to earn a pretty good income. So it's a really great option for me. And so if you're interested in becoming a consultant as well, it could be to earn your own Thermomix, or it could be to earn some extra money as a side hustle. Just let your consultant know, because we can just get you the info. Once you get the info, you can decide if it's for you or not. But if you don't get the info, you'll never know if it would work for you. We have a lot of different scenarios with our consultants. Some work full time and do this on the side. Some of us do it as our only thing. Yeah, it's different for everyone. Penny, are you ready to show us your cake? No.
Yes, I am. So cake is cooked and out of the oven, and I don't know if you can tell how big it is. That's our extra large rose gold. It's an extra large, isn't it? The biggest one?
Yeah. Yes, extra
gold cooling rack, which also fits into the extra large baking tray. So that's obviously upside down because I flipped it out of the pan, but it's still really hot. So you could ice it, or you can just eat it as it is. I don't want to cut it because I think it'll fall apart. Walk up while it's so hot, but
Better to let it cool. That's
yeah.
all. Thanks, Penny.
That's okay.
Great. So I want to show you some other things with Cookie Doo. I just think this platform is amazing. And I know some of you were asking questions earlier as well. So first thing, oh, it's logged me out. The first thing, someone asked about the filters. So I just want to show you up the top in your profile, and you can do this on the app or in the website. If you go to your profile, you can change your filter preferences. So if I scroll down to the bottom, here's where you can permanently change those filters rather than the way I showed you earlier is a one-off. So if you want to change it to always not be Australia and to always be English, here's where you can do that. And if you have, I need to save that. If you have accessories, tick those as well. But what I want to show you is how to organize your recipes. So once you found a recipe you're wanting to work with, for example, I know we all want to cook this after Jen made it tonight. You can press these 3 dots down here in the bottom of the recipe so you can organize it. You can add it to a bookmark, add it to a collection. So collections are just folders that you could have. You could add it to your week, so you can choose which day you want to make it. And then you want to add it to your shopping list so that you can get the ingredients you need. So what else do I want to add? Let's add, oh, the Korean fried chicken. Love that so much. Let's add that for another day because I want to show you how the weekly planner works, and I cleared it earlier. So now I've put some things in my weekly planner. If I come here to my week, I can see what I've got in my planner. I've got some ingredients in my shopping list. If I go to show ingredients, I can either choose to look at it by recipe or by category. And I love the category view because as you're going down the aisles, everything you need in that one aisle are together. So all your dairies together, all your spices, all your meats, all your whatever. If you've already got something at home before you leave to go shopping, just tick it off. So I'll tick these off. I've always got spices and all these things, so tick them off. And then as you're in the shopping center going down the aisles, you can have your phone in your hand in the app and be ticking it as you add it to your trolley. Just tick everything so that by the end of your shop, your list should hopefully be empty. The other thing you can do is add additional items to your list. So if you want to add paper towel or soap or whatever you need to add, you can do that there. Now that's if you want to go shopping. If you don't want to be the one going shopping, you have options. Here you can share it with someone else so that you can get them to do the cooking, or this great big green button, love this so much, can order the ingredients for you. It only works through Woolworths at the moment. It's just going to take a second to load because I'm on Zoom. And it detects all the ingredients you need for the week. It does choose a brand for you. So if you don't like the brand they have chosen, you just need to come and press the swap button, find the brand you do want. I don't know what you would want. Just shows a random one. Yeah, it is being slow because I'm on Zoom. Normally that's a lot quicker. And once you're happy with your list and what's been chosen, you just go down the bottom and add to your Woolworths cart. So super easy to do your shopping, or let Cookie Doo do your shopping for you. But it also means you're saving money because you're only buying what you need, and it's less waste and, you know, better for the environment, I guess, that way as well. And the other great thing I wanted to show you in Cookie Doo, just quickly, we do have some Cookie Doo sessions coming up where we really dedicate a good half hour to showing you all the ins and outs of Cookie Doo. But just quickly wanted to show you that if you go to the My Recipes tab, you can see here you've got a created recipes section where you can add your own recipes in. And these could be from Recipe Community, or they could be your own family's favorites. So there's my daughter with our spaghetti bolognese. And I haven't added too many in because I'm just used to using Cookie Doo, but I do have some other recipes I really have been meaning to add in. This just means you can do any other recipe, yours or from Recipe Community, as guided cooking on your Thermomix if you have a TM6. So yeah. So that's some cool things about Cookie Doo. And yeah, as I said, we do have some tutorials coming up. I actually just wanted to let you also know at the moment we have another promotion. The Thermomix always has affordable options for getting one in your kitchen. The price is $2,359. We have the option to earn your Thermomix. We also have an easy 3 payment where you can split it out over 3 months. We have Afterpay available, but we also have a interest-free payment plan, and normally it's 24 months interest-free. At the moment, just for another short time, we have 36 months interest-free, which makes your Thermomix less than $17 a week. So if you can imagine, you know, whether you would even miss $17 from your bank account per week if you had a Thermomix on your bench. And hopefully you'll be able to talk to your consultant as well. We have some savings guides because we find a lot of our Thermomix customers save more than that each week on their grocery bill just by using the Thermomix to help you make things from scratch and save money on takeaway and processed foods so that you can get that $17 back and more. So you end up actually ahead by having a Thermomix. It really does just make sense. And just before we end this evening, I know we have taken a bit of your time tonight, but I wanted to just ask you all a question. If you can just answer the poll, because this is really helpful feedback for us. On your screen, you should have a question, whether you're interested in learning more about purchasing a TM6. And I'll just leave that for a few seconds. Hopefully you can see that. If not, just you can actually just get in touch with your Thermomix consultant because we're always here to help you as well. Okay, I'm just going to end that now. If it's too soon for you all, just get back in touch with us. Oh, yeah, someone is, sorry, someone was about to answer as I ended that. So my next question for you all is, are you interested in hosting a cooking experience to learn more about the Thermomix or to share it with your friends? It could be online or it could be in person. So yeah, let us know and we can find a time that suits you and also find a way that suits you to be really flexible. So I'll just wait a second for you to answer. I know some of you have come on through 3 different consultants this evening, so I'll be feeding this back to them so that they can help you. We really just take customer service very seriously. We love our Thermomixes and we love making sure our customers make the most out of them. So we're here to help with whatever your needs are. But I'll end that now. My last question for you all is, are you interested in learning more about becoming a consultant and joining us? We have so much fun, and everyone in this business, we just attract awesome people. So I think you should get the info to decide if you want to join us, because you could have all this fun and you actually end up learning a lot more about your Thermomix as well. But yeah, super flexible, and yeah, if you just get the info, you can decide for you. So I'll end that now. If I've ended any of these polls too quickly, please just get in touch with your consultant or myself tomorrow. When I send you the email, you'll have my email address. And if you aren't sure how to find your consultant or who they are or whatever, and or if you don't have a consultant, I can allocate one to you as well. Yeah, we're just here to help you. So have I covered everything this evening? Other consultants, you're just going to have to tell me if I've missed talking about something, because it happens. I usually end the meeting and then I'm like, oh, I meant to say this and I forgot. But I'm not hearing it, seeing any. No, we're good. Okay, if I forget anything, it'll just be in the email tomorrow. I'm going to end the recording because I just want to give you time for anyone else who wants to ask me any questions, or any of the other consultants who are on. So for those who are watching, you know, ahead of time or later, thanks for joining us, and I hope to see you again at another class.